Comes amid word that one Conservative MP, Michael Chong from Ontario, and his family have been targeted by the Chinese government, that Chong himself was not made aware of the threat. Chong has been a fierce critic of the Chinese regime. Today, Justin Trudeau apologizing for the fact that Chong was not told about the threat. But bigger picture, the Globe and Mail reporting that China does see Canada as a high priority for election interference, according to top secret documents from Canada's spy agency that the Globe has seen, saying that China has a vast influence network in our country and that Canada is a much easier target than the United States or Australia because both of those countries currently have tougher rules in place to block foreign interference, and Canada still doesn't have the same level of rules. Let's bring in Jason Lietaer, Conservative strategist, president of Enterprise Canada. Jason, always good to have you part of our coverage here. Let me ask you what you make of what we saw there in the House of Commons. Not just the Conservatives, the Bloc, the NDP, all going after Justin Trudeau. You've got to do more to protect Canada's electoral process, and the Chinese are making us a high priority target.
I was shocked this morning. I mean, this story's been going on for quite some time, but I read that Globe and Mail story this morning about Mr. Chong being threatened or his family being threatened, and what a disgraceful episode. And I'm really, Justin Trudeau disappoints me often, but this is a particular disappointment. I got to tell you, it's just completely unacceptable. I read Mr. Chong's statement this morning. I thought it was bang on, which is essentially this is unacceptable. I don't know why you haven't taken action. I don't know why the diplomats who are in charge of this or sort of uttering these threats or have been part of this aren't expelled and aren't out of the country. I think it's obviously part of a broader thing that's happening here, and it's the Chinese are targeting us. And the problem that the Prime Minister's had is that he has mismanaged this file over the last number of months. They obviously tried to do things in 2015 and 2019, the last number of elections, perhaps unsuccessfully, but the Prime Minister hasn't leveled with Canadians. And so he's lost the trust. He's lost the trust of his opponents. He's lost the trust of even some Canadians who just say, you mishandled this file. And I will say, but this is Mr. Chong and his family being threatened. I mean, that's going to outrage Canadians. It outraged me this morning. And I think it's just completely unacceptable how the government has handled it.
And, there's questions about the Trudeau Foundation. There's questions about, David Johnston, the former Governor General, now looking into this to decide what should be done. The NDP continues to push for a full-scale public inquiry. I mean, this is now going on, and we continue to get, leaks, obviously, somewhere from Canadian intelligence to the media. Perhaps people there concerned about what the government may or may not be doing to deal with this crisis.
Todd, that's happening. I mean, this story is being fed with drip of terrifying and terrible information, quite frankly. And again, if Mr. Trudeau would have just leveled with us, right, a number of months ago, if he would have come out and said, listen, there's been some state actors, China, maybe others, maybe Russian, maybe Iranian, for example, that have tried to meddle in our elections campaigns. Here's what they tried to do. Here's how we blocked it. Here's how we're getting ready for it next time. Here's how we've briefed the opposition. All of those things. I think Canadians would have given him the benefit of the doubt. I'm a political opponent of his, but I would have given him the benefit of the doubt. But that's not the way he handled it. Remember, he came out and said, "Oh, it's not happening. It's racist to talk about it. It's just the Conservatives." All of these sort of stories over the last number of months, none of them have added up. And now today, the rubber hits the road, like I said, and it's very difficult to take him at his word. It's very difficult to give them the benefit of the doubt. I see Liberal MPs in the House saying, "Oh yeah, this is so terrible." Well, what have you done about it over the last number of months or years? Nothing. And until they're sort of forced to, they haven't done anything. And it's disgraceful how they've handled the threat to Mr. Chong and his family.
So why not, if you're the Prime Minister, Jason, let me give you a scenario, just say, okay, look, in light of all of this, I am going to intervene. We are going to call a full-scale public inquiry because it's very serious and it needs to happen now, not wait 3 months, 6 months, or a year.
I think he's going to end up getting pushed there. And this is one of the first rules of crisis management, right, Todd, is if you think you're going to get pushed somewhere, you should probably do it proactively yourself so that you can set the terms of it. I think he's probably going to get pushed there just with all the controversies around his foundation, of all the controversies around the public inquiry, with his, sort of junior partner in the House of Commons, Jagmeet Singh, his vice president of, politics, I guess, is also pushing him for this. So I'll say I think they're probably going to get there because I think Canadians have lost patience with this. And we're talking about a prime minister who, it's not sunny ways, Justin Trudeau from 2016, Trudeau mania, all that kind of stuff. People have sort of tired of him. He's got 31% the last couple of election campaigns. He's actually on a razor's edge of, can I continue to govern? He's been around 10 years. He's got to handle this one right. And he's mismanaged it essentially for 6 months now. It's disappointing. And the problem is it doesn't just have impacts for the Liberal Party of Canada and just Mr. Trudeau. It has impacts for Canada more broadly. And somebody's going to have to get control of this file. And I think, it's going to be a big file in the next last election campaign, which is somebody's got to take control of this and make sure that Canada won't be pushed around and our elections are not up for grabs.
Jason Lietaer, Conservative strategist, president of Enterprise Canada, joining us today from Calgary. Good to see you, Jason. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.